I'm doing this on my lunch break, and I don't like doing that because I feel like there's already an urgency there. And then when it's on my lunch break, then I feel extra pushed to be fast, to do a good edit and all that. So this is going to be very quick, and I'm hoping that enough stuff has been downloaded via Holy Spirit to help guide with this very complicated issue. And especially of late, with all the things happening in Florida, it's really, really important. And I know I was supposed to do a video on Judas, and I got another video on the scientific method and testing faith and all this stuff. It's all separate things that are kind of bleeding together, and I'm trying to parse it out and try to figure it out. This is the reason. I'll tell you the spiritual confirmation. So, the predestination, and I'm not talking about the concepts that other theological folks have made up. Oh, this means God is destined you for this. No, I'm talking about something from the perspective of the one who sits outside of time. Because I don't believe the rules are in vain. I don't believe the rituals are in vain. I don't think they're just things you just do just because. I believe these things are in place to show you and project upon this prism of these rituals and this thing that God makes you do. If you put the light of Christ behind that prism of ritual and practice, if you were to put the light through that prism, it would create this character of God and who God is and what he sees from the perspective in which he stands and sits from. And it's hard to explain because I don't understand what I'm looking at. And I've said this many times, but I'll try to express it in the best way possible. Okay, here I go. All right. Okay. Of late, I've been suffering from the grief of losing a close person. This is why I don't talk, but this is why this video is hard. And because they were so young, and because I was around their age when they were born, I was old enough to be their mom. And before they were born, we were given the opportunity, the siblings were allowed to name this person. And there's something about grief that shifts your reality. And the shift is not in vain. And the reason why it's not in vain is because God's speaking to you and he's telling you something. So there are songs that I listen to that will pop up on the radio that I know the last time I heard them was before they were born or while they were still alive. Or there are places you'll go and that person will haunt you because of their absence. Like it's a very strange thing. I can't believe that I did and experience things prior to their birth, that there was a reality prior to them where I couldn't even comprehend them coming into my life, them being there and how important they were. And then they come into your life and now your reality is warped because they're not there anymore. So there's some type of very important thread connecting you to somebody else's existence. Their existence is like the planets that sit in the heavens. They balance each other out and they pull on space and time. There's something about somebody's existence that's so much more important than this nihilistic concept of we don't matter. Because you can feel that people matter. And the place in which you feel it is at the end of life. Because we're human and we're mortal beings. So we can't comprehend the before. So the one who can comprehend the before is the one who put their personality in them, that thing that you love the best about them, the most about them, the best parts of that person, and the person that God created them to be. God put that personality within them. He knit them together in the womb. He called them by name. He had named them prior to us even meeting that person. And so the message of this has something to do like this. You know how tragic it is to lose a human being that you are very aware of and that your consciousness is hurt by the lack of pull of their existence. And that the fact that you can't go to them, like they've always kind of been over there and you've kind of just known, well, they're here, so I know they exist. But when they're out of sight, they're not out of mind and they're somehow in reality, but not. How much more is it hard for a God who made people who would add so much to society, who would have been the next great somebody, Gandhi, whoever everybody else likes to value as a human being and says they're the arbiters of truth and morality, whoever these people are. God made that person. right? And then he loved them and he saw their whole destination. He saw their first day, that he saw their last day. He saw the reason why he put them in that particular family, what the lesson was that needed to be learned based on who that person was and why they're created. And they needed whatever God put them in order to come out the way God needed them to find themselves. And a lot of people have struggled with why people are born in certain families. It's because those families chose to do evil. It's not because of God. God put them in places where there was potential for good, and people had chosen not to do good to a child or whatever. That's nothing to do with God. That has everything to do with evil. But God had this whole story planned out for this person, this whole potential for good. And we will choose to do bad, whether it's to do bad to children or whatever the horrible, evil things we do. But the worst is to choose, when God gives you a blessing, to say, I, out of inconvenience, would like to cut that story short. And now the fellow family members will never know that person. I will never meet that person. And whatever pull they had on this reality that really matters, that we definitely see when people die. We see it when they die, how important that reality is. If God were to tell you, you would only get so many X amount of years. You wouldn't see them through their 40s. You wouldn't see them through all the things that happen as people get older. You only have them for so many years. A lot of people would have taken it and said, because I got to meet them, because I got to know them, I would have taken 20 years. I would have taken whatever God had to give me. But then there's this part of our community mindset, our community underlying evil, and it is taking the gifts that God gives you and saying that we should subsidize that choice to remove that person's chance to live. We should walk in and allow people to have what they call health care, when really it's removing the existence of another human being who had a reason to be here, who God said should be here because it's necessary for them in this reality to go just so because that person existed. And we say, no, we don't want that. That's not convenient to us. And that's what happened recently, is that I've gotten this download for months. And I said, I don't know how to express this, but there's so much pain that comes from grief, from the removing of somebody from this existence. There's no way that only works on one side of this equation. There's no way that grief is only felt because we see it and we experience it. There's no way that God doesn't see and feel something similar. And my reality is not based off what other people's opinions are and these ridiculous people and their consciousness. We are so much faker than God. We are just simply characters in God's reality, in God's mind. He is more real than we are. So my reality now is trying to express, I know the one who sits outside of time, looks at the stuff we're doing in our country, and I'm telling you it's a bloodletting and it's an evil that we casually speak upon without truly understanding the consequences. If you've lost somebody in your family and you know, and I'm not even talking about this particular person, I'm talking about you. If you've lost somebody and cried, if you've lost somebody and grieved, there's definitely another side to that. That's the absence of somebody who's allowed to walk into this existence because somebody chose that that's not what they wanted. God gifted it, and they said, no, I don't want that. Does God offer up another reality? I'm sure of it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make us any less evil. And the fact that we should be participating with our neighbor doing such things is evil. There's just so much evil. And so the reason why this came into my mind is because, so when we were younger, we went to this people called Q Taylor. We were getting our clothes tailored. And we got a dollar bill back. I think it was either a 10 or a 20 or something. And it had my little brother's initial, like his nickname at the time. It was really little. It was like 2 or 3. And we used to call him J-Rock. And it was actually written on that dollar bill. I had totally forgot about that. I don't know if it's a 20 or what it was, but I forgot about that until recently when we had picked up some things that he had dropped off. The last person dropped it off was him. And he was the one who paid for it. And the last thing that my family did was, with the money that he had left in his bank account, they had paid for all of us to get tattoos in remembrance of him. And there's this, some of the stuff was from the wedding of his parents before he was even a thought. These were the things we were picking up. And there's something about predestination that is so serious. It's so serious. If God wants somebody here, they should be here. And I'm just really upset. I don't get upset in my videos, but and it's probably why I haven't done the video, but it makes me really angry to live in a place where things like getting rid of somebody else's reality and their chance to live and their chance to be and their chance to exist is a casual conversation. It's like casually talking about the abuse of a child and being like, well, it's healthcare, or, it really serves us well when that over there, the bloodletting, the sucking out of another person's brains, that works well for us as a society. We should just keep doing that. There's something so outrageously evil. I don't even know why we exist. As a country, as a society, we should not exist because this type of bleeding, this type of evil that we casually speak on is so evil. It's evil in a way that we can barely comprehend, that I don't know why we exist as a country. I think God is very merciful. That's the video. The video is how on my spirit it's been very heavy about the fact that we really need to change how we view our reality in relationship to those who have the right to be here, those who were given the right to come in here. Hey, listen, if somebody wants blood in their hands and they want to go to the back alley and do whatever they do, then and they don't survive it, it's on them. Life for a life. Life for a life. That's not healthcare to participate in the killing of another human being. The child first. If you walk into somebody's house and try to attack them and try to hurt them and they hurt you and you die, that's a life for a life. You know what I mean? So no, it's not a healthcare choice. It is not. That's the point. That's it. This is Land of Christ, King forever. May God be with you.